Hey everybody, welcome to the Quest Diagnostics Scouting Report. Good health starts with knowing, here with Steve Zakuani. I'm Nick Firchau. We're previewing the Seattle Sounders' next matchup. They're on the road on Saturday against Toronto FC. Kickoff, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. It's on Joe TV as well as on the radio, El Rey 1360 AM in Spanish and Cairo Radio 97.3 FM in English. And Steve, I want to talk a little bit about Nelson Valdez, the Seattle Sounders designated player who found himself the subject of a little online criticism from former Sounders player Eddie Johnson after the Sounders' last MLS game against NYCFC. And then Valdez turned around just a few hours later and ends up getting a goal in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16 game against Real Salt Lake on Tuesday. Examine Valdez a little bit and what he's been able to do on the field since signing with the club last year. Where does he succeed and where does he struggle?
You know, Nick, to understand Nelson Valdez, you have to go beyond statistics and production, what shows up on the stat sheet. He's not a guy at this point of his career who's going to get you 10, 15 goals a year. That's just not his game. One, the formation the Sounders play, the 4-3-3, doesn't suit Valdez's current strengths right now. He's a guy who typically is good in the air, fights for crosses, he's a poacher, and plays with his back to goal. The way the Sounders play with free forward, you have to be very active and mobile, making runs in behind, which Valdez can do, but it's not quite his strength. He doesn't show up much on the stat sheet, but where he does show up is he harasses the opposing defenses. His goal against Salt Lake was simply chasing a lost cause. And not many guys who are DPs who come to the league at this stage of their career with the pedigree he has are willing to work as hard as he's willing to work. You ask any of his teammates and they'll back him to the end because they see what he does in training, they know what he brings to the team, and sometimes having a guy who sets the tone by what they do off the ball, his running, his willingness to put in the dirty work, actually sparks confidence in the team. You ask Valdez, he'd love to score more goals and get more assists. But at this point in his career, his production actually is probably better with the things that don't show up on the stat sheet.
He put in a lot of good minutes. He started and then put in a good shift on the road at Real Salt Lake at altitude in that U.S. Open Cup game on Tuesday night. So we'll see what kind of role he plays on Saturday against Toronto. That's short rest for him and the rest of the Sounders players who played on Tuesday. Now, one guy we will see on Saturday is Sebastian Giovinco, the reigning MLS MVP and one of the best players we've seen in MLS in a long time for Toronto FC. Let's check out some of these numbers. Steve, these are unbelievable. Over the last season and a half since he joined the league in 2015, he is the league leader in goals and assists. That's hard to do. Assists from run of play, shots, and what I find really interesting is he leads the league in goals from outside the box. So that means this guy scores from inside the box and outside. He's also got 5 goals on free kicks, as many as Didier Drogba. So this guy finds a way to score no matter what, other than with his head. The guy's only 5'4", so he's not going to do that. But otherwise, the guy puts it in the back of the net every time.
Yeah, he's a guy, he's a threat in many ways. Normally we stand up here and we say, if you stop the service into the front man, they won't score. Not with this guy. Creates his own shot, scores from free kicks, 11 goals outside the box since he's come to MLS. So there's no one way to defend him. You have to just hope he has an off day, but the way you limit him is you have to get extremely tight. And even sometimes that's not enough. He's very good at spinning guys, a good dribbler, can shoot left foot and right foot. And honestly, to a lot of people, he is the best player in MLS right now at this moment. So Sounders defensively will have their work cut out. But to be fair, defensively, the Sounders have been pretty good this year. So it's going to be a very good battle. But Giovinco, it has to be said, is one of the premier strikers in this league simply because of the many ways he can score goals.
Sounders have been good on defense, but we'll see if they can shut down one of the elite players in MLS. Coming up on Saturday, the Sounders are on the road at BMO Field in Toronto. The kickoff, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. It's on Joe TV, as well as Cairo, 97.3 FM, and El Rey, 1360 AM in Spanish. Thanks for watching the Scouting Report.